Okay, Kevin, hi. Welcome to the Creators Canvas. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey Timothy, thanks for having me. I'm very excited. Again, this is my. We've already talked before. This is my second interview I've did, so this might be a bit interesting. I'm not used to being in this kind of situation, but yeah, I have to experience that to get better at it in maybe a few years or so.
Yeah, I completely agree, and thank you for being transparent about that. So I know you're based out of Germany, and you finished high school, and then you're on your way to university, and so you are on two different paths. One that's very traditional, which is school, and then one that is untraditional, which is content creation. How do you kind of think about balancing those two roads, with the path that you have for your future?
So I would essentially. So first of all, I'm gonna study data science. If maybe some of you know what that is. It's essentially computer science, essentially the same thing with a bit more of AI. Although I really like that, I have to say I love that. I love that path. My dream outcome would be that there is no balance between the regular way of doing things, of going through life, and the other way of going through life, which is being a creator and doing that kind of stuff. And I don't know, having a spin-off business and all that stuff. That's kind of my dream. So right now it's a balance, and I will have to balance it. So go to university and create content besides that. But my dream would be, of course, to not have not have to balance it anymore, so that I can just do one thing, go all in on that, simply because that's much more effective use of my time, I think, and that's how you can get ahead. If I can do one thing, focus on that, and do nothing else, then I'll get better at that and also surpass my competition.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, it's so interesting, thinking about the things that we want to accomplish in life. And so you mentioned, for you, one of your dreams is to go all in on this. And where does that dream come from for you?
Yeah, I don't really know. I just
Yeah.
think it's because as we I think all did, nearly everyone watching this podcast right now, we all watched YouTube as a kid a lot.
Yes.
I at least suppose, and I love the platform. I have to say it was probably my best teacher so far. Taught me a lot. The content on this platform is super great. Loved it as a kid, and I just want to participate in that and also be a part of that thing, which I loved and yeah watched so often. I think that's where it kind of came from, and yeah, now I'm trying to pursue that. Although I'm now doing it on TikTok and not on YouTube, because back then TikTok wasn't existent.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's incredible to think about the impact that YouTube is currently having on all of the different generations. I saw this graph the other day. I don't know if it was bro science or if it was real or not, but it was very interesting. It said, if you asked someone like 50 years ago, what would they like to be? It was an astronaut, and then 25 years ago, if you ask someone what they would like to be, it'd be like a doctor or a lawyer. And then today, it's like if you ask kids what they want to be, they say YouTuber. And it's
Yeah.
so incredible because it's like, wow, this niche thing of content creation that wasn't widely accepted in society is now becoming much more of the norm. And I think that's so incredible. And so if you kind of think about some of your inspirations that have shaped you into, the creator that you want to be, who are some of those and what impact do they have on you?
Some of my biggest inspirations. So for my TikTok, one of the earliest inspirations was actually Mark Tilbury. I don't know if you know Mark Tilbury, his
Uh,
content?
it rings a bell.
Finance.
What's fine? Okay, got
He's
you.
in the finance space. He was one of the biggest inspirations for my TikTok, simply because I kind of took his style of creating videos. He had these very successful conversational type of videos. He did that very early on, and in a very professional way. Awesome. Like his videos were incredible,
Yeah.
especially compared to other TikToks at that time in 2020.
Mhm.
Uh, Ridiculous quality, and I took that and took that and applied it to the tech space, essentially, where not a lot of people are doing that. And that's how I got my tech content started. And that was one of the biggest inspirations for me. And otherwise, I could now tell you some of my earliest inspirations, the earliest YouTubers I watched. Probably not a lot of people know them because they're German YouTubers. Mm-hmm. For example, one of the earliest YouTubers I watched back then, I played a lot of Minecraft, and one of the earliest inspirations was Gomme HD. Probably no one's gonna know him, but that was my earliest inspiration. And some, of course, in the tech space, Marques Brownlee, obviously, but also Mr. Who's the Boss. I think that guy's really gonna take off even more. Do you know Mr. Who's the Boss? Do you watch his content?
What's his username?
Mr. Who's the Boss.
Mr. Who's the Boss? No, I haven't heard of him. Does he make tech content as well?
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of the I wouldn't call him the new kid. He's been doing it for a long time, but he's the new, very successful creator in the tech space, because he kind of did a similar thing I did with Mark Tilbury. He essentially applies a lot of things Mr. Beast does. I think his videos are kind of a bit like Mr. Beast videos, but in the tech space, and that's what makes him so successful, because no one did that. All the videos in the tech space look like the ones of Marques Brownlee, because he perfected. Yeah, he's so dominant in that industry that everyone's doing exactly that thing. And Mr. Who's the Boss came in and took that from Mr. Beast, took a lot of inspiration from him, applied that to the tech space, and it's been working great. He's on his way to surpass Apple and Marques Brownlee in subscribers. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. His growth is absolutely incredible.
That's really cool. And I think seeing the meteoric rise of someone like Mr. Who's a Boss can be so inspiring as to, what's possible, like in this game that we're all playing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, Kevin, for you, a lot of your content, focuses, around tech. And when it comes to technology, have you always been interested in it since you were a kid? And what fascinates you about, that type of content?
Yeah, I've always been very interested in technology, simply because my father was always the computer guy.
Yeah.
In the 90s, and so that's where that stuff came from. Yeah. And what was the other question?
Why do you think technology resonates with you so much? And so for example, for me, the content that I love is I love to listen to people, and I love stories. And I think if I try to peel back some layers of why I like that, I would answer that and say, it's incredible to hear something from someone and then realize that you went through something exactly the same. And you're like, wow, we can kind of bond about that experience. It's like the human experience. And I think the more that we can bring that out, with people, the more that we can all relate and realize that we're not so different. And so for me, I've realized that's why I love the content that I make.
Okay, now I understand. Yeah. Then I would say the reason why I like tech so much is it because it helps people achieve their essentially goals. That's for me, at least right now, the great thing about tech is that I realized tech is every technology you have makes your life easier and can help you to live a life more in the way you want it, because it does tasks for you, makes things easier for you. I don't have to fly. Where do you live right now?
I live in Texas, Dallas. Texas.
I don't have to fly to Texas to make this interview right now. Saves me a lot of time, saves you a lot of time, and this is why we can do this today. This is the opportunity that is created by technology, and this is kind of the awesome thing about technology, that it can just enhance your life in such a great way. Of course, there's also a downside to it, especially with social media. Let's not forget that. Can also take away from your life. That's the negative aspect of it. But I think in general, it's positive. Has a positive impact on this planet.
Yeah, I completely agree. If we think about how much progress society has made in the past 50 to 100 years, I mean, technology,
that's crazy.
Yeah, is definitely at the core and provides kind of the stability for that. And so, Kevin, one thing you mentioned is the negative effects that technology can have. And ultimately, I think it's all net positive. But to focus on the negative effects, what do you think those are in current society?
Yeah, as I said, tech should be something that kind of enhances your lives, that makes your life better, that can help you to achieve living the life you want, and add to your life. The problem is that especially very addictive technologies like social media platforms like TikTok or YouTube can also take away that time you would otherwise save.
Agreed.
That's kind of the biggest problem here I'm seeing and everyone's seeing right now, and we are seeing the result of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And is tech addiction something that you have ever encountered before? So like, for example, for me, I have to be really careful when it comes to YouTube, for example. Like I even have like a YouTube home feed blocker. Just
Yeah,
so
same.
Okay,
They are great.
it really is. It really is. And just because I notice that if I don't have that, then it's easy for me to fall in the rabbit hole. Because for me, when it comes to technology, and I would love your opinion, is I want to always try and be as intentional as possible. And that applies to everything of tech in my life. So for example, like I only want to pick up my phone when I intentionally would know what I'm trying to do on my phone. Like I pick it up and I'm like, okay, I know I wanted to text, a friend, but sometimes I pick up my phone and then I think about it and I don't even realize, why did I pick this up?
Yeah, but that's a great mindset. Honestly, that is a great mindset to only do this when you want it to be, because the tech shouldn't control you. You are the one controlling the tech. That's the best way to go about this, and not the other way around. So yeah, that is very true, extremely true, and hard for some people to do, because again, it's also for me, it's hard. I'm struggling like everyone else, like nearly everyone else. I'm struggling with that. Again, the YouTube home feed blocker, great, by the way, awesome. It helps you to not get sucked into that rabbit hole. Really, really great. Costs like $2 or so. Get that? It's awesome. And yeah, besides that, TikTok, of course, our platform right now, also your main platform, of course, a big problem. Right now, I would say that the effect of TikTok is net negative. That's kind of sad, to be honest, but I think so. But we as creators, and if you want to become a creator too, or are a creator, have the means to put an end to this and create a net positive effect. So that's kind of motivating, something positive.
And okay, so now we're gonna start getting into things that are a little bit spicy. So why do you think TikTok is a net negative for society?
I think that first of all, TikTok puts a lot of things out of context. So misinformation is a big problem because of that. Simply because you get a small bite, essentially, small bite of a conversation, of a long, in-depth conversation, some podcast clip or something else, and you only listen to that. And this sometimes I see a lot of clips when I've watched a podcast, and I see a clip on TikTok taken from the podcast. It sounds totally different. It's extremely weird. I wish I would have an example right now, but yeah, I don't have one right now.
No, yeah, I've actually seen that as well, so I know what you mean. So
that's a problem, at least.
Yeah. So okay. So now to dig into what you said, Kevin, and I'm gonna challenge you a little bit. So one thing you mentioned is these short clips that don't provide any context to the actual material that it's taken from. I feel like that's an issue with shorts in all of the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And so what do you think about that?
Yeah, it definitely is. For also because they are very similar, and the content on them is extremely similar. Mm-hmm. I would not call one better than another. I think they're all as bad. It's hard to call them bad, because some people, they do intentionally. It's very entertaining, and it's something. Yeah, it's not bad all the time. The dose is very important. How much you consume the content. I wouldn't say one is worse than another. I would say they are all kind of the same thing. And regarding algorithms, sadly, we don't have a lot of insight into that, so we can't really fathom what's going on behind the scenes. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely a challenging problem that a society is facing right now. And so, Kevin, to take us back a little bit. So when I was looking at your content, I know you started creating videos maybe around like 2021. And so during that time, what was your mindset, and were you nervous to get into content creation?
Definitely, I was definitely very nervous to get into content creation.
Yep.
Also, the reason for that is because I had experienced. So I put myself out there before in 2018, I think. I made a YouTube channel, which was, by the way, it sucked. It absolutely sucked, like most of the first projects you have.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very important point. It's always going to suck in the beginning.
It will suck. It's going to suck. Yeah, and that's why people made fun of me, definitely. Not in a super bad way, not in a way that completely demotivated me, but it still is a thing that happens. And that made it hard to start and put myself out there again, because in the meantime, between 2017, 2018, and 2021, I only did faceless Instagram channels because of that, because I did not want to I didn't want to run into that risk again. But essentially, that was pretty stupid, but because this is what I want to do and this is what's fun, so shouldn't keep myself from doing that.
Yeah, and okay, so Kevin, I'm getting goosebumps because you're talking about a lot of important topics that especially I think that, content creators deal with. So the first thing is, when you first made your YouTube channel and then you were receiving those stupid comments, what were they saying and how did that affect your mindset?
Yeah, essentially they were saying that my content was trash, video quality was bad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or they didn't, I can't remember. I think some of them insulted me on a more personal level. But it's never, it's online. It's never really personal, to be honest. You just can't take that personal.
Yeah, agreed.
And because the good thing is it didn't gain a lot of traction, meaning that not a lot of people saw it. On TikTok, that was kind of worse. I got a lot of insults, especially for my accent. From Germans. A lot of Germans pointed that out. Some in a nice way, I know. It's not.
Other Germans were pointing that out.
Yeah. Just Germans. There's. I've never had an American or a British person or anyone in my comments mention that I have a weird accent or that I talk weird or something. It's just the Germans, because they notice that it's a German accent.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but most of them are nice. Like most of them are very respectful. It's just the 0.1%. But they are irrelevant, so that's my problem.
Completely agree. And I think as content creators, we always need to remember that the negative is always the minority and the positive is always the majority.
Exactly.
But sometimes the negative can just affect us so much. And so, Kevin, you mentioned that because of that experience, you then created, faceless content so that you didn't have to, deal with those haters anymore. But now you put your face in videos. So how did you get over that hump of overcoming that?
I essentially just ignored it. I also got a lot more mature. I think that's the reason. I just aged and matured a bit. But I just ignored it. That's the only thing that you can do, essentially. You're going to be criticized, and most of criticism isn't generally a bad thing, of course. Most of the criticism is right. I love getting criticism, but this stupid, hateful comments are the problem. Just ignore them. That's essentially the one thing. Just ignore it. It's gonna happen. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter.
I completely agree, and I want to say I admire you for making that change, because it's not easy to go from feeling down about the content that you made and then overcoming that to then now look where your TikTok channel is now. And And so, we mentioned you started creating content in 2021, and then you made content way before that, but TikTok was 2021. And then how has that journey been for you? Because I imagine it's been a lot of burnouts, a lot of consistent grind, a lot of self-doubts, but overcoming those things anyway.
Yeah, so it's always a wild ride, especially on TikTok, because the views change so much. And you After when the first video went viral, I just wanted to chase that. I just wanted to get the million views again. Just wanted to hit that benchmark again.
Yes.
And the problem is that's pretty difficult. You're not going to do that in every video, and that's fine. You have to kind of realize that over time that there might be periods where you don't grow by like a lot. Or, for example, right now I have my channel is stagnating, but you just have to push through it and create better content. And I'm trying to do that, especially on a video, like my cinematography skills, improving my cinematography skills, because those weren't, they are before. But that's kind of, it's a normal thing. Like there's gonna be ups and downs, and the downs aren't much worse. They're very, very natural, something that just happens.
Yeah, I agree. It's a roller coaster, and that's just the best way to describe it. And so, Kevin, one thing that I'm noticing about you is your mindset. And so a couple of things from your mindset, before we even started the call, you mentioned, hey, this is my second interview ever, but if I don't keep doing them, I won't get better. And, your mindset of, overcoming challenges, whether that's, hey, before these negative comments used to bother me, but now they don't. So you overcame that. So how did you get to the point where your mindset was this way? Because I feel like that is always a struggle.
I don't know. I think it'll happen automatically when you start your journey and you just have those experiences. You'll start to develop kind of that mindset naturally, because you've already experienced it. Like having not growing a lot within 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. That's something that I know it's happening. I know it happens, and I know that better times are coming because I've already experienced it. So the most important thing as a creator is to just start. That's what every creator is going to tell you. That's what also in other means of life, like university. If you want to learn something new, just do it. Doesn't matter. Just do it. It's the best thing. Yeah, that's essentially what I would say.
Yeah, and just do it. I think that's great advice. And so during your journey, we've been talking a lot about, the mindset of what got you here, but what are some actual points that have, like, what has been your most exciting point as a content creator up until now?
My most exciting point, I would say when I reached 10,000 followers on Instagram for the first time. Actually, that was pretty big. 10,000 followers. Yeah, that was a big milestone for me. I was super excited. I had the subscriber count on my TV right there, and recorded and took selfies with the subscriber count, because I was so freaking happy about that. That was kind of my biggest, my biggest point.
And so I know 10,000 followers is just a number, but there's a meaning behind that number. And so what was that meaning for you, and why is it so special?
Simply, it's very simple. I just imagined 10,000 people in front of me, and I thought, like, hey, that's pretty good. So that's really it. By the way, what was your favorite point? Because I've also watched your channel a bit. I knew you. I actually knew you before we've done this podcast thing. I've been watching your videos, and I gotten your most viral ones on my For You page, and actually quite like them. So yeah. What was your favorite, like your biggest success on this journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first off, it is cool because I actually went to Europe 2 months ago and shot interviews over there for the first time. So
okay. Yeah, I noticed that in the videos. Where did you shot that? Where did you shot those interviews?
Prague and Paris.
Okay, because some of them weren't native Americans, right? As native English speakers.
Exactly.
Yeah, you noticed that. I was. Yeah.
But yeah, so to answer your question, okay, so I think I have two answers. So I am still a relatively new content creator. I just had my year anniversary 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. And so, as you know, in the beginning when I started, it was 3 months of no traction, but I didn't care, because in the same way that you love tech, I just love, listening. and I shot 100 interviews, 100 videos, no growth. And then at the end of the third month, things grew a little bit. And then I was like, okay, this is interesting. So then let me keep doing it. So in December, the first week of December, I was like, okay, let me write down my goals that I want to hit for content creation for 2023. And then I wrote those goals down, Kevin. And then 2 weeks after that, we're still in 2022. I hit those goals because things just absolutely exploded. It was
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is
And
awesome.
so things just moved so quickly for me. And so 2 months after that, in February, I got my biggest brand deal ever. It was with Microsoft.
Oh,
And
crazy.
yeah. And so I don't know, because so for me, I didn't know anything about content creation, but everyone was telling me like, oh my gosh, like you've been doing this for like 6 months and you already got a deal with Microsoft. Like, dude, you're doing so good. But to me, I was just doing what I was just doing, I didn't even realize. So I would say definitely the Microsoft deal. That was really crazy because, Kevin, for me, the reason that these brand deals are so cool is because the person that you see in my videos is the person that I genuinely am in real life. And so when this brand wants to work with you, it's like they want to work with the real version of you, because
Yeah.
I'm not being anyone else in my content. So I was like, wow, like that's kind of validating. It's like, wow, like this big of a brand would like to work with me. That's crazy, So I would say that's the first one. And then the second one, I would say definitely has to be the direct messages that I get. So in the direct messages I get, there are a couple of ones that stand out. One that stands out is this guy who told me that him watching my video inspired him to, reconnect with his sister because they had such a broken relationship for so long. And it's those type of positive messages where I think they really help you get through kind of the burnout that you feel as a creator, right? Because it's one thing to do it for yourself, but then it's like, hey, like there are people that actually resonate with my content and doing it for them. It's this idea of being service to others, which I think is kind of beautiful.
Yeah, that's crazy. That story is crazy, by the way. Reconnecting with his sister, and I mean the cool thing is, not the cool thing, but yeah. The cool thing is, that's just the guy who messaged you. We won't even know about the people who haven't messaged us. There might be some out there, and we might have impact in other people's lives we don't even know about, and that's positive impact, of course. And that's beautiful. That's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think you touch on a really important topic, which is there are so many things that left unsaid that people don't say and will never know. And
that's true.
That's why I tell people all the time, like if you watch content and there's like any small content creators that you really like comment if you can, because as a small content creator, those comments are so meaningful. Like your video on YouTube can have 20 views, but if it has like that one positive comment, you're like, okay, this is worth it. Like, let me keep going.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
And so for you, Kevin, has there been a message, feedback or, a comment that has really stuck out to you?
Get rid of my accent. That's a big one.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, besides that, a big message that stood out to me in the comments, right?
Yeah, or messages, or, because, what I'm thinking is like, hey, Kevin, I've always been interested in tech and I've always wanted to be a tech content creator, but I've never even taken that leap. But, seeing your content, has really inspired me to move forward with that. Anything like that. That's kind of what I think of when I think about your content. But if nothing comes to mind, that's okay too.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a specific comment comes to mind. In general, I believe that in general, I think I get some positive comments, not about me as a person, but for example about my recommendations or so. They agree with me, think about this in the same way, or also when I just recommend something and people just thank me for recommending it. Yeah, that feels great. Yeah, that feels pretty great.
It really does, and I can tell you're genuinely reviewing these products, so then people are able to get your honest opinion about what you think of them. Which I think is nice. And so, when I looked through your content, obviously a big topic right now in tech is AI. And so, Kevin, from your perspective, what do people get wrong about AI?
I think right now people see it as a threat that is like as an unnaturally big threat. I don't think that AI right now at the stage where it is such a big threat. I believe that just as many other technologies, it's 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 going to have a pretty positive impact, especially in the next few years. We're not going to have super crazy, super smart AIs anytime soon, like not in the next 10, 20, 30 years. After that, I don't know. We don't even know if we are ever going to get that. That's just theories. Nothing like that is nothing like that is it's happening right now. And I think that it's going to have a very positive impact. I think that's the thing many people get wrong. It's not going to take away all of the jobs. It's not going to destroy people's lives and stuff like that. People think it's and this has happened before in history. That's why I think that is so interesting. This has happened with steam engines. This has happened with industrialization and all this stuff before. It's been the same thing. People get very mad about it and think it's gonna ruin their lives. Their job's gonna go away. Blah blah blah. But in the end, it creates new jobs. Computer age. It's a very good example. People thought, hey, we're gonna be useless. Computers are gonna render us useless. And what happened? Yeah, we have more jobs than ever today. So I think that could happen again with AI. It's been happening a lot of times, and history does repeat itself here and there. And I think that's what people could get wrong about AI.
Yeah, beautifully said. And because I think what's currently going on in the media is there's a lot of doom and gloom, for headlines of, what AI is going to do. And I think as a reader who doesn't know much about technology, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so scary,
Yeah.
And when it comes to, the technological advances that are coming with AI, is there anything that stands out to you that you're really excited about?
Anything that stands out to me? That's an interesting question. Let me think.
So for example, for me, like everyone knows about, Midjourney, but then the one that isn't as popular is the video version of Midjourney, and I was playing with that the other day. I don't know if you heard of it, a runway. So it's text to video. And that is like so cool. And you see,
I've seen some people create whole movies with it.
Yes.
It's ridiculously good.
Yes.
Crazy. I don't know. I think for me personally, I would say that's actually a pretty difficult question. My personal life, where's AI gonna have an impact?
Yeah, and also it can just be something that you're excited about, Kevin. Like, for example, even some simple examples. Like for me, it's nice because like editing the podcast, there's like now like a Premiere plugin that AI can just do a lot of it for you. And it honestly just, it's impressive.
Oh, yes, video editing. It's such a pain in the ass. It's really a pain in the ass.
It is.
And if AI could do something like that, it's very repetitive. Also, it's extremely repetitive. If AI could do something like that for me, that would be great. I also already appreciate auto underlines. How's it called in English?
Analyze?
Underlines, under titles.
Oh, the captions, the auto captions?
Captions, auto captions. Oh my God.
No, you're good.
Auto captions. Yeah, that I appreciate that feature so much. that saves a lot of time. And besides that, I would say a big thing, not for me, but for many people, is as we enter kind of a more virtual world, as we do that, AI in video games is gonna be a big thing. That could be that's one of the most dangerous things AI. Yeah, that's one of the worst things that AI could do, is essentially just trap us in video games because they are so freaking good. I mean, for real, if I imagine GTA but you're talking to people that actually act like people.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And also those fake dating platforms, but we don't have to get into that. That's pretty dangerous. But in video games, they could be pretty good very soon. I think that's gonna be crazy. And one thing also, maybe AI could also give them a bit more power to people, because it makes creating, for example, creating a video game or accomplishing every task, just like every other technology, much easier. So I think more people have now through AI the means to do a lot of stuff. Like, for example, edit videos. If AI can do it for them, it's super easy. They can create content, put their stuff out there with an even lower barrier to entry, and for example, focus more on the script itself and the message. And
yes,
I think it could improve people's lives a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree. And okay, so let me know if you're comfortable going into this, because it's actually top of mind for me, because I posted some stories about it the other day. But the AI dating platforms, and so currently, there is an epidemic, at least in the U.S., of loneliness. So people are lonelier than they've ever been in society, which is ironic because we should be the most connected technology, right? And then what's coming is, or what's already here, are these AI dating platforms. And I think, I can't recall the name, but there's one, for example, like you can start a family, with this AI, and this AI can send you like provocative pictures and things like that. And it's basically targeted towards, young men in particular. And what's happening is like young men are trying to, or it's easier for young men to go this route because there's less heartbreak. They don't have to try as hard. If they don't have luck, in the real world, then why not just go with this AI? So when it comes to AI dating, what impact do you think that's going to have on society?
I think it's gonna steer us further in the direction we're already heading, because right now we are getting more lonelier because we connect less with real people, and because connecting with real people is just, as you said, it's harder, it's more difficult to do. So many people, as you say, go the easy route and just, I don't know, download Tinder, swipe a bit, and get their dates like that, like magic. And we've seen where that took us. You've mentioned the loneliness epidemic also in other parts of the world, everywhere, and that's gonna be further enhanced by that simply because it's gonna be even easier. You have to do much less to get to the point where you would to talk to a girl, you would have to talk to a real human being, and kind of
exactly.
And she's not easy to talk to. It's very difficult because you both are humans, both make mistakes and stuff like that, and maybe she's also a bit shy. And that's not happening with an AI character that's trained to entertain you.
Yes.
So this might create a even lonelier world, sadly.
Wow, you actually bring up such a good point, which is, okay, in a real interaction, say between, like a 17-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl, like both sides are nervous, and, the conversation, flusters, there are trip ups, and things don't go perfect because, to your point, it's two human beings that fall short. But now it's crazy. You bring up a great point, which I haven't thought of, which is AI partners are going to teach you that these conversations always go perfectly.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, and when you make that your expectation and then you go participate in the real world, it's like, wait, this conversation was so much more uncomfortable and did not go like how my conversation with my AI bot Laura went. And it's like, okay, so now let me just go back to the AI bot because this conversation is so oh my gosh, like I'm getting goosebumps of how like kind of like scary that is in terms of, because it's all going to be about expectation,
Yes, exactly. It could be, again, the impact could be pretty negative, but we could also play this the other way around. Essentially, we could also teach AI, make AI teach us how to behave. So you could just turn that thing around. The problem is, again, that's pretty hard. People don't like doing hard stuff, right? Normally, like not a lot of people do. to like that. So they might not opt in for that. So that's kind of the problem. But you could also do this the other way around, although I don't think that's gonna happen that much. The problem is, do you have a solution for this problem? Like, how would you counteract that? Because I have no idea right now.
Oh,
No idea.
great question. Okay, let me think for a second. Okay, so obviously, this is not a complete solution, but this is my hypothesis for where things are going to go. I think the only, historically, a lot of times the only thing that spurs change is like a drastic event. So it's like by, a little bit every day, every year, every decade, things are just going to, slowly get worse and worse and worse, specifically about this topic. And then what's going to happen is people are going to look around them and notice that no one is, participating in the world. And then that's where I think regulations will start to come in, because the tough thing is like regulations only come in after, not before. You know, but if it comes in after, then obviously the damage has already been done. But the challenging thing about what we're talking about is the damage isn't very clear until a few decades. So, for example, social media, right? Like that damage was like, okay, a little bit, and then boom, now like governments are trying to regulate it.
Yes.
In the US, it's becoming much of a bigger conversation, versus, something like plane safety. Like plane safety is something that like one drastic event that happens, then, changes are going to be made like just like that. So for example, in the US, 9/11, like after 9/11, Kevin, oh my gosh, the government and the US in terms of regulations for planes completely changed, but it only required one event, But for social media and AI, there's not really one event. It's just little events that happen over a decade of time that's harder to see.
Okay. So you think this thing, we should keep this going and then wait for, because you think this is kind of the natural cause and effect.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've seen that before. We've seen it before with nearly everything. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
We'd love to hear what you think too. And of course, like on an individual level, because I'm of the belief that change starts with the individual. Then like, for example, that's why like I think my content is good. I mean, first of all, I love it, but my content is good because then it's like, it brings back that human connection that everyone is lacking, One reflection I've had, especially after my 1 year anniversary, is two things. One, Kevin, people are starving for someone just to look them in the eye and actually listen to them. That is something that I noticed. And the second is people are starving for encouragement about anything, because encouragement is something that they've never experienced in their life.
That is true.
And so with my content, hopefully, I can try and make like 1% difference in terms of, fighting against the trend of loneliness that we're going towards,
Yeah. I really like your content. This is something we should have more of. Definitely. I like your tagline that creator can. First of all, the name is great. Creator Canvas is an awesome name. I like that name a lot.
Thank you.
And I also like your tagline that how's it again? Ah man, I wait.
You're good.
Where is it?
So on different social media platforms, I have different taglines, but if it's TikTok, maybe stories told through crucial conversations. On Instagram, it's the internet's interviewer. So there's like a couple of different taglines I have.
Man, I can't sign it. God, yeah, it was. Where is it?
No worries. What was it? Stories told through crucial conversations?
I'm not sure. God, yeah, I can't find it right now.
Oh, no worries.
I think you stated in an email. Yeah, yeah. How you? It was the way you explained the podcast to me. I found that pretty good. I found that pretty good. I can't find the email right now because my email program is shit.
No worries, no worries. And so, Kevin, for you, so yeah, you're about to start school. Is there anything exciting when it comes to content creation coming up for you? Like, is there like a series you're excited for, or some new content that you're interested in testing out? Like, where are you at in your kind of content creation journey, and where do you see yourself going?
First of all, one thing is simply a big mistake I made is that I didn't put my content on other platforms. Like I just focused on TikTok. And I know that you, for example, are putting it out on YouTube. I don't know. Are you
Yes.
putting it out on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, that's something I want to definitely get into because I already have the content. Why shouldn't I upload it? And another thing is that I want to I want to put more effort into creating YouTube videos because I just think that's like a better way of telling stories, of creating really beautiful content,
Agree.
not just short kind of bites. That's kind of where I want to head towards. And I also enjoy watching YouTube. Personally, I enjoy watching YouTube a lot more than watching short form content because you're really getting sucked into that one piece of content.
Yes.
You really remember something afterwards, and you really get something from it, and that's beautiful. I think that is pretty beautiful and
I
powerful.
completely agree. And it's just it's a storytelling, which I think is the funnest part of YouTube, and thinking about, how can I structure this so that, it's the most interesting thing for the viewer, and doing that long form versus short form is so different.
It's much more, at least for me, probably because I'm used to creating short form content, but it's so much harder on long form content. Do you have any tips on how to create a great story in your video? Because that's something I struggle with personally.
Oh, that's a good question. So, not to give you a disappointing answer, but I don't think I have anything. The reason I say that is because when it comes to my content, I have posted like I think 98% of every interview I've ever shot, whether I think it's going to do well or not well. And of course, I've thought about maybe posting less so that I only post like the interviews that I think are going to do well, But I think everyone's stories, should be told. And so because of that,
That's pretty true.
Yeah, because of that, I don't have much control over the storytelling of my videos because the focus really is on the other person, The only thing I'll say is I am starting to get into long form content creation for another project I'm involved in.
Okay.
And I have been watching a lot of Pixar videos, not Pixar movies, but Pixar videos. They have some like storytelling videos on like the best way to tell a story.
Really? Pixar?
Yes. I can
Okay.
follow up with you. Let me make a note.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I didn't know that. I mean, Pixar is great. They are pretty good storytellers.
Yeah, they're pretty good, I would say. Yeah. So let me follow up with you, and then I'll shoot that over to you. But
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I have been kind of consuming that a little bit more because now I'm like, okay, to your point, I'm thinking about the same thing as like what is the best way to tell a story. So yes, we'll definitely follow up with you on that.
Yeah, thanks.
And of course. So Kevin, as we're kind of wrapping up on time, we love to kind of end off on a question, and it's a question that we've asked on my page before. And so Kevin, for you, what is one thing that you wish people knew about you?
One thing I wish people knew about me. That is pretty hard. One thing. I might want to think about this for a second.
No, you could take your time, please. And it's a question that evokes thought. So take your time.
One thing. That's pretty hard. That's actually pretty hard. I'm thinking about it right now. God damn it.
And there are other questions we can ask too, so no worries.
Probably one thing about me. Probably that I that's so hard. I can't give an answer to that right now. I might come up with one later. I will continue to think about that.
Yeah, please.
But I don't want to give out such a generic answer because that's actually a great question. So let me think about it. We can do some other questions.
Yeah. Let's do it. Take your time. Another one we like is when people look at you, what do you think they see?
Yeah, I've seen that one in your content. Yeah, I think they see and they just look at me. I don't think they see a lot when they just look at me because my clothes, my outfit is very basic. They might think that it's a guy that like takes care of himself but doesn't care too much about how he looks, how he dresses. I think if you would see me at the streets, you would just think I'm an average guy, which might be true. I'm not saying that's not true, but yeah, that's probably what you would think. You'd think, hey, that's a pretty average person.
Yeah, beautifully said. And Kevin, just to let you know, I do not think you're an average guy in the slightest. So
Thanks.
yeah, so hope you know that.
Can give that
Kevin,
back to you.
Thank you. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the Creators Canvas. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me on.